Hi, I'm Jon.
And I'm Eli.
And you're watching Screen Obscura.
And today we're back with another episode of Screen Obscura after watching The Furious, directed by
Kenji Tenigaki.
Yep.
And starring Motse and Joe Taslim, who is Sub-Zero in the new
Mortal Kombat movie, which I googled.
Yeah, we just found that out now. So this is a Lionsgate distributed Chinese movie with a lot of English dubbing that did not need to be in there. I saw the ratings for this movie and I figured, oh wow, this is maybe something that's worth seeing in theaters. And I did enjoy, you know, Ip Man of course is very popular, but I do enjoy my martial arts movies whenever I see a good one. So I took a chance on this one, and from what everyone's saying online, seemed to be pretty perfect because it has a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. What's your experience with Chinese like martial arts movies?
I've seen Kung Fu Panda. To be honest, I'm not really well versed in it, so I'm not going to pretend to talk and be pretentious about it. I've seen some of the artistic cinematic classics like House of Flying Daggers in 2004. So I know a little bit about it. It's not like my favorite genre of films. I don't dislike it by any means. It's just something I don't really dwell in very often. I didn't really know what this film was going to be about because we didn't really want to watch the trailer. We saw like the first like 15 seconds, and the second we kind of got the idea of it. We were like, yep, we're gonna go see it.
Overall, I would say it was good. It was very entertaining. It was enjoyable. There were a lot of things that did bug me about it, though, that I think I'm just going to easily compare it to Ip Man because I think that's the most comparable film to it. It has an emotional core for the character that you're following, and it's all martial arts, very much Wing Chun combat. There's a lot of things that it did great. I'm not going to take that away from the movie. The martial arts, you don't see this in Hollywood for sure. The stunt choreography was fucking amazing. But the double-edged sword about it is that it was very, I think, tiring to watch in this movie because the pacing of the combat was sometimes very drawn out and very long. But overall, I really enjoyed it. It was very entertaining. I don't think it was as good as some of the other martial arts movies that I've seen. It's been a while since we got this kind of movie, which is why I think it's got such amazing ratings, and understandably so. But because I have my history with other movies, that's how I feel about it while watching it.
Well, kind of just bouncing off of that too, I also just feel like in Western society, especially like North America, these type of movies aren't really popular. Is it a really good movie? I think so. I do think it is a good movie. Is it something that we haven't seen before? No. Is it something that I would like to see again? Yeah. On that note though, a lot of tropes were played, a lot of mixed, almost like not necessarily dynamics, but mixed developments of the characters were also incorporated into the plot besides the development of, I would say, the two main protagonists.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone, children included, kind of had this weird arc turn around halfway to the third quarter point, which we will talk about shortly.
So we're kind of dancing around our negatives a little bit because I do think they do stick out a little bit to the point where it does bother me enough to drop the score quite a bit from where I want it to be. So because of that, let's dive into the plot a little bit. We'll do minor spoilers for now.
The plot of this film follows a father, a single father it seems like. He's a former kung fu master or vigilante. It's kind of odd because they don't really explain his backstory and they don't really tell us where he came from, but then he's just really well versed in martial arts, but then also it's alluded that he has a past. Don't know what that past is because they never explain it. That's like a spoiler without spoiling anything. Basically, his daughter gets snatched and he goes feral and tries to find her. Along the way, he meets a friend who's also looking for his own loved one who has gone missing in the same ring.
There isn't really much to spoil in this movie. It's got a predictable plot. There is like a big baddie in this movie, which is shocking, and it kind of has like a video game structure to the movie where there's like mini bosses and they're just clearing out hordes of people in the room and using weapons, and the weapons parts were very, very fun.
Yeah.
And I wish they kind of had that escalation in the movie of them using bigger weapons or stronger weapons. That being said, when they were using weapons, at one part in the movie, it's extremely strong. Then the second half of the movie, it's very weak, and the power level of the weapons were so inconsistent. I know for these movies you have to suspend your disbelief. It was a little hard for me to do that in this one. In Ip Man, I had no problem suspending my disbelief for the most part. I think that's what took away a lot of the movie for me, and the fight scenes went on way too long. And that sounds, it's like having too much cake. There is such thing. Like, my eyes got tired. I had trouble following. There was a lot of good cinematic shots. The editing was good. There were a few close-up shots that were a little too hard to make out, and there was some shaky cam that I think looked like it was added in post-production. I understand this is a Chinese movie. Why are they speaking English and then having ADR dubbed over them?
Yeah,
again.
We're gonna roleplay right now what that looked like. Oh, come on now! You're not funny. I'm gonna find these kids, whether you like it or not.
That was perfect. It was so, especially for the fucking cops. I don't know why. It was so goddamn bad. Like, have them speak Cantonese or Mandarin. It's fine.
Right.
I'll read the subtitles.
Well, also too, in the film, they switch back and forth between the languages. Stick to fucking one. Suspiria did it in 1975. 8.
No, and that's another thing. It's like, commit to one of them. That actually really bothered me, and that brings my score down as well. We follow the daughter through a decent chunk of the movie, and she doesn't develop too much, and what's going on around her is very predictable and uninteresting, but there could have been something there. And I think they made the protagonist, the actor Mose, his character is a mute, which is fine. That's very video gamey, right? You're a mute protagonist going through the game, whatever. That's fine. Joe Taslim is the one that carried this movie. And then there had this really, it seemed like tacked on plot about a villain who is in charge of this whole organization. The last half hour of this movie was unnecessary. Right. It was obviously very fun to watch and very entertaining, but from a plot standpoint, made no goddamn sense, and there was no emotional stakes to it. Because I didn't even know who the hell this guy was. Barely, anyway. He had like 2 other scenes in the movie that were a minute each. And then there was a big like mini boss in the middle of the movie who overstayed his welcome.
It's almost like they just kept changing up who the next main antagonist is when conceptually, especially in like the idea of like the human trafficking ring concept, there is obviously like a head honcho. I felt like they really tried to push the narrative of like there is like a big boss, like puppeteer behind the scenes, but kind of like what you said, circling back, that person was not really a tyrant figure, but then the last quarter of the film they decided to just make this guy basically unbeatable, manic. It was very odd how it's almost like it was like a television show in the sense of like the first 2 seasons are good, season 3, oh shit, we killed off too many people too soon, let's just like shake it up a little bit. It got to a point where I was like, how long is this goddamn movie? Because I've been sitting here, my ass is sore.
It was a little long for what it was, and when I saw that everybody was like essentially getting resurrected, I was like, how much longer is this movie gonna be? And
kind of just circling back to the whole notion of like suspending your disbelief a little bit, it is a really thrilling experience. It really is captivating. They get to the point. There's no shitting around in the beginning. The first half of the film was excellent. I was enthralled the entire time. It was so good. It was so sexy. And then it just gets to a point where it's like, didn't you use that move 8 other fucking times in the last 5 minutes? Didn't you just beat the shit out of this guy earlier? Didn't I hear his bones break? Why is he walking normal? So that just takes me out of it. And it's not just some like Bruce Willis shit. It's like these people are contorting their body. You're hearing them crack. They're being bashed with sledgehammers.
Yes. Yeah.
And the next scene they're doing backflips like Chun-Li.
17 feet up in the air, and then they come and do like a axe kick. It's like, what the fuck?
The only thing that basically would have been the cherry on top of this, the way this plot was going, was if someone opened a book, started saying Kunda Estrada, and started floating. That would have been literally just the whole, oh yeah, this makes sense as to why they're invincible.
It was a fantasy the whole time.
Or he woke up and it was just a dream and he actually can talk.
So if you want to subscribe and leave a comment on what you think down below, that'd be great.
Yeah, and moving forward, if you ever want John to stop comparing all Asian films to Ip Man, just let us know.
No promises. So, what do we want to rate this thing?
When watching the film, like the first 20-30 minutes, I was like, easy 4. Easy 4,
sure.
Easy 4. Yeah. It's probably going to go up, easy 4. It started to just go down, I would say. Transparently, and again, it gets to the point where it's like, you have to understand this is fantasy. You have to understand this is the whole point of like a martial arts movie. It's not meant to be realistic to a certain extent.
It's absolutely exaggerated.
The thing is though, with the plot structure that they tried to incorporate with the realism, they tried to incorporate like modern technology of like going live and trying to like expose higher society and doing all these different things.
Right.
They tried almost to make it real to the point where I was like, is this fantasy or is this like modern commentary? Are you guys trying to tell us something, Epstein?
I do think when they were trying to do that realism in the movie, everything was resolved like this.
Yeah.
That's why it was not satisfying emotionally.
Maybe I am being hard on it. I give this film a 3.75. From a spectatorship, it was entertainment to me.
Yes,
it was very. I felt a rush, like Troye Sivan. I just felt really. I felt like, you know what? This is cinema. This is a movie experience. I have not felt that in a long while. I'm gonna be transparent with you. The last time I felt like a real cinematic, like holy fuck, this is cinema, was Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers. Definitely, I do think that it has its really, really high highs. Its lows are not on the floor, but the balls are hanging a little bit.
Yes, it's swinging.
Yeah.
3.5 from me.
3.5. So I was thinking about that. So on Letterboxd, you can't do 0.25, so I did give it a 3.5 on Letterboxd.
7 sounds about right to me. If they nailed the emotion in this movie a bit better, this can easily be an 8, if not a 9.
Right.
And if the fight scenes were cut just a bit, just so I don't get like sort of fatigued from it, and I want these scenes to have that impact. But when you're breaking 10 legs in 5 seconds, now I'm desensitized to all of it, and they just kept doing that throughout the movie. Right. Don't get me wrong, it's really cool to watch them do like a double leg sweep and slide across the floor 10 feet up on the room, and then use their hands to get up and then do a fucking double leg drop kick. Right. It was sick. It was really cool. But it got tiring after a bit. It was so lengthy at the end that I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready for this to be done.
I will say as well, I didn't really understand how they...
Are we going to spoilers yet?
3, 2, 1, spoilers. I don't understand how they were also able to use the same range of motion on children. Like, I feel like there were scenes where specifically like the big ass fucking E Honda guy shows up, and he's like kicking kids in the face full volume like down the stairs, and they're not even breaking their nose. And they're just like, oh my god. You know what I mean? Or it's like when he does the fucking kick and he throws the girl onto the truck and she goes flying and she gets knocked out. But it's like that.
Grabbing them by their legs and like swinging them.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Maybe I'm just like disgusting for saying this. I do like the fact that they didn't really shy away from
having the violence towards the kids.
Yeah.
Showing the violence towards kids.
Yeah. Beating them.
Well, like it adds emotional stake to the movie.
Yeah.
Right? And I think they could have played with that a lot more. Like, show what the kids are going through. You kind of alluded to it at the beginning. But what... Okay, you can make an assumption in your head what they're going to do and what the fuck... You know, whatever.
Well, but actually, we actually don't know what they're going to do, because is it a hostile situation? Is it a...
Right, yes.
Like, R. Kelly?
If your fucking father-in-law doesn't even know what you're doing, why the hell are you the boss of this entire thing?
Yes, and to circle back, it's like we're introduced to who you think is the head honcho, when in reality, this guy is almost just like a random mule in comparison to who the actual head of the company is. But then even at that, the head of the company is just a father-in-law of the guy who's actually indirectly the head of this operation. It was really weird, and you weren't really introduced from the perspective of like, wow, I really hate this figure. You kind of just have to hate him. You have to hate him just based on what he's doing, but he doesn't actually do anything that is worthy of like, you hate him as a person, like you hate like his traits and his personality, because he's introduced as so casual. He has like 4 lines, and he has like maybe like a minute and a half of screen time before you really get to know him in like the last act. This is the thing too, and kind of circling back to what I was saying about Conde Estrada. The film literally takes the weirdest turn where it goes from martial arts to pure gore porn almost, in the sense of like, why are we biting people's jugular vein out, and why are we like profusely stabbing them with like a bottle and finding just creative ways to slaughter them? It just became like a bloodbath, which, don't get me wrong, I understand like the turn of events is supposed to be parallel to how like this boss is feeling, how he like broke character and like he knows his whole operation's crumbling, so he has like nothing to lose. It literally, you know what? It went from like a Jet Li film to like Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Like it took like the weirdest shift where it's like it almost became comical in the sense where it was hard to understand what we're following and what we're doing this for anymore. It almost just became
exactly.
It almost just became a performative art show of kicking ass, but also like slaying ass because of all the blood and the violence that came and the gore that came with it as well. I'm gonna
compare it to Ip Man again. Every single punch in Ip Man was fucking impact. It was amazing. There's a reason why, there was a counter. There's a reason why he wanted to hit him the way he did. There was a reason why he hit him softly. Everything mattered. That's why, this was kind of like a Terrifier for
right
MMA. Terrifier is like the equivalent of like excessive gore for the sake of gore. There was just fighting for the sake of fighting towards the end of this movie, and it really lost me. That's why I had to lower my score. I didn't give a fuck about the villain towards the end because he was introduced halfway through the movie for 5 seconds, and then now suddenly he's M. Bison fucking coming in with a Psycho Crusher.
Psycho Crusher. Can I just say something? I'm finding it really, really hard to believe that, besides a couple of police officers...
Oh god, yeah.
Not a single person had a gun? that confused the shit out of me.
They did, but
what do you mean?
They were watching somebody fucking bow down everybody and freeze right there.
So that's the thing. It was little technicalities like that in the beginning that was kind of pulling it down a little bit. But then when it became to the point where I was like, what the fuck? Why am I playing Yakuza? That is when I decided, you know what, this film, as great as it's being raved about, I hate using this word. It's over high. But it fucking is. I just feel like, will I watch it again? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd just rather watch Chris Tucker find Soo Young a bra in Rush Hour 4. I'm John.
And speaking of bras, I'd rather watch the Cat's Eye music video for Gnarly.
What the fuck?
I'm Eli.